Hi,
Hey,
how are you?
we're
Hi, who's that?
we're double taking only for a minute. Say hi, Armin.
Hi, my name
Hi, what's your name?
is Deacon.
Ethan?
No,
Deacon.
Deacon.
Deacon, how you doing, Deacon?
But this
Are
is
you,
back later. He wants a treat, but I was like, you
ah,
come for a few minutes, and then you can come back and say hi to everybody.
hi,
No.
Amanda just joined us. Hello, Amanda.
Ah,
Um, your sound comes in and out a little bit, so just be aware of that. I'll do this if it does that, okay?
okay, it might be because is that better?
Much better,
I
yes.
think my microphone was covered, but is this like a weird angle? Yeah.
No, you're fine.
Are you sure? Okay. So let me try to sit up a little bit more. The better? Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was pulling a Peggy. My microphone was heavy.
Well,
Oh
why
God, my
don't you?
brother just joined.
Which one's your brother?
JT. Hi, Bubba.
And we have Ahia Benefits joining us and Turd Turgeson,
Hi, Uncle Jay. You can say hi real
very
quick.
creative name. We got Big Brothers Big Sisters joining us and Lisa Marie Kelly joining us. Why don't you tell us? We haven't officially started. We've got a couple more minutes. Why don't you tell me about your day? I'm going to flip the screen to your website and I'm
Oh,
going to pin a comment on there. So just tell us about your day and maybe tell us a little bit about Deacon and life in
yeah.
the Cooke household.
Can you hear him now? Okay. Well, today, honestly, we try to keep it pretty easy. So I have been that mom that fell into the request of a water slide. So we bought an extremely ridiculously overpriced water slide to put in the backyard just to give the boys a little bit of a break. So we had some fun in that, and I've only cooked, I don't know, 5 meals already today. Caught up on a few emails. It's been pretty basic. So our boys, lucky or not lucky, I don't know yet, finished school on Friday. So
Oh, wow.
today, yesterday and today were the first days where I was kind of the only one filling in the gaps of time with activities. So we folded some laundry together and keeping it pretty basic, pretty basic.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we have Tim Bakey joining us. This is Bilson joining us. Actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is Bilson is joining us from Ghana,
Whoa!
Africa, who is going to be a guest with us at another time, who's part of a youth council with the United Nations. So, if that is you, Bilson, hello. I look forward to speaking with you at a later time. But today's special guest is Jamie Lynn Cooke. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We are actually quite blessed and happy in these particular days and just trying to be together and like everybody else that's watching and listening, we figured it out every day. Every day is different. We just got to roll with it. And it definitely has brought upon some different challenges or creative opportunities. But we're lucky to have so many people that care about us and I can reach out to, like yourself and other friends. So it's been all right.
Well, I do want to talk about some of the creative ways you have confronted the COVID-19 outcomes, but I do want to get to a little bit rewind and for people to get to know you. Maddie Dillon is tuning in. Isaiah Lopez
Hi.
with Big Brothers Big Sisters joining in. Magdalena's joining in. Thank you all for tuning.
Magdalena, I miss you.
And I'm going to interrupt every now and then. If I see a comment or a question, please, you guys, add anything. Make sure you follow her as well, Jlen Events. Um, well, why don't we? So you're a product of UTSA. What made you want to go to
Wow.
UTSA?
This was, do I have to give the year? It was a lot of years ago, but it just
No, you
was
don't.
such an appealing homegrown school. It was gonna, so at the time I was living in Houston, so it wasn't too far from my family, but it was far enough for me to have a college experience. So getting away and living in a dorm and being a part of a community and rushing a sorority, I'm a Phi Mu, diehard Phi Mu, and just building the relationships that to this day I am still benefiting from. I've got so many incredible partners, friends, clients, colleagues, mentors who I went to college with. It just, I don't know why at 18 I knew it was the best fit for me, but there wasn't a question in my mind. It was homey, but it was very scholastical, and it had a ton of opportunities from an athletic and an on-campus extracurricular experiences. Um, I would never look back. I am so happy to be a bird. Beep beep.
Well, I was going to ask a question later, but you kind of prompted me to ask you this now. Oh, and Peggy Pace joined us, one of our board
Peggy.
members. Peggy Pace is listening in, and so you talked about the opportunity with relationships, and you're one of a handful of people I know who are genuinely interacting with people, whether they hire you or not, or whatever it is. Where do you think that stems from? How do you have that sentiment?
Yeah, you mean I'm interacting with people whether they want it or not? Because I very
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
that's a hard question because I think it's my DNA. I can't help but care about people. And my son actually, honest to goodness, we just bought a game off of Amazon because what else am I doing these days? That it's a little carrying case of cards, and it gives you probably about 150 questions to ask your preteens, and they're very much about your emotional and mental state and opinions. And one of them was really similar to your question. It was like, why do you do what you do, and how did you become this person, and what makes you a good friend or a good business person? And my answer is generosity. I just want to give to people. I mean, it's that simple.
Very nice. Well, it comes off very personal and very genuine, and I think it you don't it's naturally comes off that way. Ken Briggs, who's a new member of the World Affairs Council, has joined in, and the person who recruited him, Wayne Smith, has also joined in. So thanks for tuning in. Now you come out of UTSA, you're a roadrunner, and you get your first gig at a place called Fleischman Hillard, and you jump right into that, and you did that for a few years. But then you have this amazing opportunity. Uh, uh, and maybe you want to tell us what Fleischman Hillard, what you did there, but jumping into Rackspace maybe right after that. And you were there for several years, for 5 years, I think. So tell us about
14.
your, oh, I'm sorry, 14.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
they're too long. Yeah, I mean, Fleischman Hillard was just a dream come true. When I was at UTSA, my focus was on public relations with a focus on crisis management, and that was the firm to be at. All of my professors, my junior and senior year, said, if you are going to be in PR, Fleischman Hillard is where you should be. So you've met me. I was like, well, Fleischman Hillard is where I'm going to be. So I immediately pushed and applied, and I got a very modest position, account manager, intern, very modest. But while I was there, Rackspace approached me out of the blue. And I was a 23-year-old nobody. I had no idea what a startup was. I had absolutely less knowledge about a technology company and web hosting for that. I mean, I think I was probably still using AOL at that time. So it was kind of cool that they approached me about a marketing position, and that's how I started. And it was also organic. I was a marketing coordinator and then manager, and then there were events and hospitality, and it just grew and grew. And I have met the most incredible people there. And I've got a friend, I'm going to go ahead and name drop and brag on him. Lorenzo Gomez is an incredible friend. He was talked about a personal board of directors from my experience at Rackspace, I've built it. 90% is from my contacts at Rackspace, and they just showed me the ways. I mean, we did events coast to coast, and then Australia, London, you name it, and it's just taught me so much, and it allowed me to really take that and do what I'm doing now, which is crazy.
And Graham is one of your mentors, I think you've said before, right?
Graham Weston is like another father. Yeah, he's been pretty outstanding in every day of what I do, and giving me some super stellar advice, things I don't want to hear sometimes, but I think that's good, and just sets me back on my purpose. Every time I feel a little bit wonky and confused, and I don't know what I'm doing 80% of the time, he is definitely someone I can call and ask, and it's really cool to have that.
That's pretty awesome. Now, the real question I bet everyone's asking, as far as Rackspace is concerned, is how many times did you go down the slide?
Okay, so I helped install that slide, not physically, but from a real estate perspective, and maybe two.
Oh.
Now my kids have gone down that slide a lot of times. I also, I think the better question is, how many times did I have to deal with complaints about the slide?
I remember when we were filming there with Big Brothers Big Sisters, we were filming a video with Graham Weston, and we were just talking about the script, and I hear this rumbling sound, and it was someone coming down the slide with a coffee mug, and he had a tie on and he just carried on and walked as if though nothing was unusual.
Well, I mean, that's pretty normal. In our days, when we say, "Hey, meet me at Cheerios," which is a meeting room for people who haven't been to Rackspace yet, we had some really creative wayfinding experiments where different rooms were of different genres. So it could be cereal groups or rock and roll bands or countries and states. And so we were always saying, well, honey bunny, what? I've got, yeah, what? No, he heard Cheerios and he went cereal.
Well, we may have to put him on at the end.
Yeah. My encore. I have a live audience here. Did y'all know?
Well, and you guys are called, what was the Fanatical? What was that? Rackers? Is that what the name of which you all deemed yourselves?
Yes, we were Rackers. Being fanatical was what we thrived to do. Being fanatical is somebody who doesn't really think twice about accommodating somebody and figuring out what they need and want, and before they even ask for it, which is what I think we do in the event industry. Yeah. We're kind of constantly trying to anticipate it.
All right, we have Salty Lizzie, who has joined us, and also H. Lynch, Plan Extraordinaire.
Hi, Heather.
And Katie Camp has joined us, and Circus Picnic.
Oh, that's best.
So we've got quite a bit. So I think the meat of your experience, at least my curiosity, and what you've done with Jlen events, and let me just show people your website really quick.
Oh gosh, that needs to be updated.
And it's
Heather gets this.
Jlen events. Talk to us. What's happening? You have this vision. You have this idea of interacting with people. You've experienced events worldwide, and this vision becomes an idea, and it becomes reality. Walk us through it in a few seconds.
Yeah, I think that I had just at a point around 2015, 2016, towards the end of the year, 15, I had just given Rackspace absolutely everything I had to offer, and they'd given me everything they'd had to offer. So I could feel it in my bones. It was time for change, and I knew I always wanted to do something on my own. And I'd really been working with Graham and a few other key people to figure out what that was, but I was also having babies over the same few years. So I was very scared to leave a super secure job with benefits and yada, yada. So when Deacon was about 3 months old, I decided it's just now or never. I'm going to do it. What really pulled the trigger for me is that I saw a gap in the sophistication with events in town. So I was very, very much local. I was only looking at what was right around me. And I just could tell I could fill that gap. And that's something my board of directors have always said. Successful people are successful because they find a gap and then they fill it and do it better than anyone else. So that was my goal. That I was like, well, I mean, I'm not going to be perfect. And I think there are people in town doing events that do them very, very well. But I wanted to find my own niche. And it gave me a flexibility to be a mom because being a mom and being a wife is numero uno. And so it just kind of worked out. It was not easy, and it was a difficult decision to do that and scary. So any mom out there thinking about it, it is just scary. Period. It's never going to feel good. It's like when you find out you're pregnant. It doesn't feel good always. It's just scary. You know you can do it. You know you want it. You know it's a blessing, but it's just a lot.
And what kept you going? What was it? The mentors you had? Was it the drive you had? What was the light at the end of the tunnel for you?
Oh man, another great question. Definitely mentors. I had a lot daily phone calls with people asking them, am I crazy? Am I doing this right? Who do I talk to? How do people, because people don't know what they don't know. So you can start a business and be great at it, but if people don't know about it, it's not going to work. So I think my biggest fear was that. And then what kept me driving was making sure people knew about it. But honestly, not to kind of be redundant on being a mom, but I want to set an example for my kids that you can do anything, be good at it, love it, passionate, and it'll be fine.
All right, we have Mohammed who has joined in. We have I am Carly and Lee Dewey has joined in. So thank you all for tuning in and for staying on. Please submit any questions you have.
Oh,
Uh,
great.
let's get into the services that you all provide. I know you have, if you go on your website and look at some of your partners, you've got some really top-notch ones, and I'm not just saying the World Affairs Council.
My
Uh,
bad. My bad.
but what are some of the things you all do? What does events cover?
Yes. So we are full service from conception of an idea all the way through designing and executing it onto day of event. We will make sure it runs really well through, honestly, the feedback session. And you've been a recipient of that product that we don't end when the event ends. We will sit down and go through the good, the bad, and what needs to change. But we offer graphic designing, so I think what people get confused of, this is where I have to back up, is that we are not the caterer, we are not the photographer, we are not the graphic designer, but all of those amazing people and vendors are under our umbrella. And the benefit of hiring an event planner is the resource of our relationship. So we've got the best of the best. We've got deals you can't get if you were to call them directly. We've got knowledge on contract language, especially in these days. Everything is changing with COVID.
And
So
not
to
only
reschedule,
deals,
yeah,
but the inner workings of the relationship, right? I mean, I
yep,
found out that to be very important.
that's right. It's just, it's just like fundraising or anything else. It's just people want to work with their friends. And the event and hospitality community is so tight that it's much easier for me to pick up the phone and call my caterer and say, ooh, this is what's going on, and get a resolution that's fair for all parties than it would be for an individual person planning an event. But in terms of what we do, scales of events, because I'm not a wedding planner, I've tried it. Some of my clients who I've done their weddings might join, and I love you, but I don't think I'm that great at it. We are corporate and nonprofit pretty specifically because large scale events that have very strategic goals is our bread and pudding. So we work with, obviously, you're my favorite, but we've done work with the NCAA. We've done work with the Final Four, obviously, that was here. We've done Toyota, General Motors, colleges in town. I'm going to forget them because I hate doing this. I always
It's on
feel
your
weird.
website.
Yeah, it is on my website. You can visit it, but that's what we try to focus on because I think that the events that corporations and nonprofits hold, the reward for me is when people are there and they're engaged and they're building relationships and they're learning something and they take that back and they apply it to what they're doing the next day. There's a return immediately for me. I mean, I think that today we're all getting very creative with virtual events. This is a perfect example. But you cannot replace forever the person-to-person contact. So they'll come back. And these conferences and trade shows and sales offsites and retreats, we have to have them because we're people. Even an introvert is missing somebody right now. So that's honestly, that's our biggest reward. And that's why I chose to focus on corporate nonprofit versus kind of more personal events, which we do because we love people. But it's just really cool to see dollars being well spent.
Would you say I kind of noticed when you did our event and we were talking to Jaime Cooke with Jlen Events and one of our partners, what we're doing is we have introduced you all to our young professionals. We want to introduce you to our board members. We want to introduce you to our partners and anyone who would like to come on and talk and is somehow related to the World Affairs Council. And that's why we have Jaime on. But when we were doing the event this past March, I and let me know if this is not the right comparison, but I think what you all do is like if it were a movie, you would be directing it. You have all these pieces in play, and you have someone taking care of this, someone doing this. You've got all these things in play, and all the great things that come with it, plus all the pressures. Is that a valid comparison?
That's kind of funny. That's really really good. I'm going to use that because we're the director, but we're also casting because we do all of your keynote speaker, validations and communications, and that's a cast for the programming. We manage all of your scripting, so we're kind of also writers. I mean, Armin, I think you and I even had one conversation about what to wear, so I might be in the wardrobe department. So
Yeah.
we kind of do it all. And then, of course, I am very, very passionate and heavy on the production side. So love a good tech run. Lighting, audio, visuals, video, cues, all of that kind of stuff is exactly what we will take care of. Yeah.
We have, I know the attention span for Instagram Live is very short, so I want to hit the key points before we end this conversation. And you hinted at it in the beginning about you starting your own business. I know that there are many people watching and listening, and others in the community who want to start a business. And what sort of incentives, what sort of opportunities, where does one begin to look if they have an idea, whether it's a great idea or okay, this is something that is already being done. Do I do it better? Where would you suggest, especially for women-owned businesses, what sort of advice do you have for someone who's starting out?
Oh, good. Again, good question. So, if most great ideas come from lack of a source, so you want something and it's not available. So you wonder, well, can I do this? So if anybody is thinking about, especially working moms right now who are like really running out of ideas and how to stay busy, keep their kids active, stay relevant, the chances are whatever you come up with creatively, like you either have it or you don't though, somebody else wants it too. People are asking about it. And so my only example is my yard sign spin, which I never thought I would
I
be
love it.
doing. But I had a friend who across the street who needed one and she couldn't find what she wanted from a creative perspective at her timeline. And I thought, well, we have a fabrication department anyways, and I'm really trying to keep my staff on board. Let's put them to work. Let's just make it. And then another, and then another, and then, and I mean, we're building a choo-choo train right now, literally. And so I think that the best advice I have is if you, I think most businesses or products come from something you want and don't have, you can just do it. And then use your network like crazy. So one thing Graham has always told me, you don't get what you don't ask for. And people want to help you. So go to the people you trust, be vulnerable, be honest, be realistic with what you can, do, and they will help you. They'll support you and they'll connect you. It's the only reason I'm surviving. It's because I know people who know people who know people who know people, because I'm a nobody. But if you're a good, honest, hard worker, you'll get referrals and you're doing something you love and it'll be fine.
I love the way, Jimmy, you pivoted. There's certain businesses in the community who have some of the larger ones, restaurants and others. And I watched you as you progressed through your posts of what you're doing with the signs. If people are still having graduation, they're having ceremonies. Tell them very very briefly what sort of services you're offering with the signage and graduations and quinceañera, whatever, everything in between. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks. I mean, like, nothing can stop us from celebrating. Okay, we will do it in our homes, but we're still going to throw some kind of an event. And although we're used to events that are 500, 1,000, 5,000, 20,000 people, this has been a really fun pivot for us. So we will take kind of any idea you have. Like I said, the Choo Choo Train. It's a 6-year-old who's obsessed with trains, and people just want to celebrate him. You can't have parties right now. You can't rent out the bouncy houses. You can't go to SeaWorld. You can't, there's just so many limitations. So why not deck out your yard? So we've done a lot of things for graduation. Colleges, from Rice to SFA, University of Texas, Texas State, like you name it. Because parents, I feel bad for parents right now who have seniors, kinders, or even junior high graduates, high school graduates, college, that just can't give them a big ta-da. And so I think it's kind of cool when they walk out in the morning and their front yard, embarrassing or not, that's our job, is like decked out with signs and balloons.
So they could just message you on your handle here on Instagram,
Yeah.
also your website, Jlen Events. Make sure you have different packages available for different things, different
Totally.
events. So please contact her for that. Or if you're a business nonprofit and you're looking to do events, I highly recommend her. She not only gets stuff done, but she does it so that you end up wanting to keep in touch with her and go to bat for her when she asks. And Kim Biffle just joined in. Hey Kim, how you doing? Um, I want to end. We have just a few more seconds, and if you didn't catch this, Kim, I know you just came on. We will save this and put it on our YouTube channel for the World Affairs Council of San Antonio. So you are being recorded. I don't want to. We're at 24 after, so I want to end on something that is very cool, much deserved for you, Jaime. Is being nominated for the Woman of the Year for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And full disclosure, I'm trying to help with that, as well are a small group of people who I am sure feel the same way I do, and that they want to go to bat for you because of your relationship with us. Tell me what that means to you. I know it's it's an amazing thing, and a little bit about the award itself.
Oh gosh, great. So let's end with me crying, which is also pretty typical. You know, I was approached by a really great friend with the opportunity to run for this Woman of the Year position, and did not know what it really meant. But as soon as I met the organization, I knew it was for me. So Leukemia and Lymphoma Society does not only benefit leukemia and lymphoma patients and families, which it obviously are very important, but it has touched patients and families with brain cancer, breast cancer, pancreatic cancer. I mean, you name it. And I just thought, whoa, I had no idea the impact and the spread that they had. Well, I mean, they've already raised over $3 million since April 1st for COVID research and family support, because I had, my father had stage 4 malignant melanoma twice. And my mother had breast cancer twice, and both are great. Thank you, goodness. Healed after a lot of treatment and family expense. And I now have a cousin who found out 2 weeks ago she has breast cancer. And so, to
Wow.
me, although I don't have a blood cancer connection directly, cancer has just totally ruined my life too many times. Here you go. So I thought right now, better than ever, I have the time, I have the passion, I just want to help another family. I mean, a family dealing with cancer doesn't have to do, like, now they can't even see their family members because of COVID. So it's so expensive to be in a hotel room and to feed them, and then the treatments and the cures that we're trying to come up with. I just think if anybody has $10, I know everyone's being really sparse because we don't know what's coming, but $10 goes a long way. I can't. I'll keep crying.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us, Jamie. I think that being selected is one thing, but to be someone who deserves it so well, and I didn't know the personal connection, which makes it even more significant in my eyes of why you were nominated. So, best of luck with that campaign. If you have any questions or comments about that, please make sure you ask her. Paloma Marketing has also signed in toward the end. Like I said, if you're tuning in late, we'll have this on the World Affairs Council of San Antonio YouTube page. We're going to do this every week. We have different people coming on. It's kind of very sporadic. There's really, it's not like our Zoom sessions where it's more formal. This is just sitting down and talking to some of our friends, some of our good friends like Jamie Cooke with Jlen Events. Make sure you follow her on Instagram. Make sure you get to know her. She's a good person. She's very good people. And thank you all for tuning in.
Thank
And we will
you.
see you next week.
Thanks, Armin.
You
You're
all have a
amazing.
great evening. Thank you,
Bye.
Jamie. Bye-bye.